This is the Sex That Got Away, Jack, the original Can I Get a Do-Over guy. Jack and I met on MySpace. He stumbled across my profile. We started talking and I agreed to meet him for lunch on January 1st, 2005. I thought it would be promising to start the year off with a date. He picked me up in his truck. We went for Thai in Silver Lake. Jack was a green-eyed, black, handsome, well-built, quiet, and mellow singer guitarist. I was a talker, and he wasn't. The sexual chemistry was absolutely there. Unfortunately, the other chemistry wasn't. I did most of the talking. Neither of us was suffering through the date. We were just different types of communicators. He'd actually smoked pot before the date. When I told him I didn't smoke, he shrugged it off. After lunch, he dropped me off at home. He went off to watch the Rose Bowl. 2 days later, he called me. I returned his call and left a message. He called me back eventually. Again, I carried most of the conversation. We didn't make any plans. We hung up, and that was it. There was nothing to pursue. Shortly after, he changed his MySpace relationship status to in a relationship. Then he removed me from his friends list. 11 months later, in December, I got a message from him. It read simply, "Can I get a do-over?" This had never happened to me. I wasn't sure what to say. I was pretty annoyed, and I really had no interest in being rejected twice. Since the new year was approaching, and with no real intentions of ever meeting him, I replied, "Yeah, sure. How about we get together January 1st? I'm starting this thing where I date a guy once a year on the same date every year." He replied, "Okay." He didn't get the sarcasm, or if he did, he didn't let on. I didn't reply, and we didn't get together, and I went to Chicago with a friend for the new year instead. We exchanged a few more messages, and over the months I lightened up a little and genuinely intended to meet with him again. However, there was that part of me that sincerely didn't want to give him a do-over or see him again. I hadn't changed, so would he meet me again and be reminded of why he stopped calling in the first place? Also, maybe he just had a girlfriend that whole time. We didn't meet. Then, in the summer of 2006, I was working out at the gym regularly during lunch. I walked in and he was there. He looked better than I remembered. I was instantly attracted to him. The last and only time I'd seen him in person was 18 months prior on New Year's Day 2005. We had a short chat. I asked him why he was working out in the Valley when he lived in West Hollywood. He reminded me that he worked in the Valley. I never returned to the gym at that time of day again. A few months later, I took a promotion as an advertising executive for the newspaper where I worked. This is when I began to realize just how small Los Angeles is. There's many instances of small Los Angeles. In February 2007, I had thrown a party from one of my clients, the Sex That Got Away Maxwell, and his employees in a suite at an LA Kings game. I invited one of my coworkers, Bonnie, who had been my client's advertising representative at another paper. She and I took a picture together. I posted this picture on MySpace because Bonnie wanted her son to see how cool his 60-something mom was. A few days later, Bonnie entered the office and said, "Jack says hello." "Jack who?" I asked. "Jack Wright." I asked her how she knew Jack. She explained that Jack had seen our picture on MySpace, called her, and wanted to know how she knew me. It turned out Jack was the manager at a spa and hot tub company in our advertising market. Bonnie had been his advertising representative at another paper. He was actually currently advertising in my paper, and I had no idea. Jack was back in my little world. I began to seriously think maybe I needed to give Jack the do-over he'd asked for almost a year and a half earlier. I believe everything happens for a reason, and wasn't this coincidence something? I am a romantic person after all. Maybe this was all supposed to be a part of the story Jack and I would tell our grandchildren. I just knew there had to be something there. This had been going on with this guy for 2 years. 2 years. One date and still this. We picked up our communication again, sending messages. A few were exchanged, and nothing. Again, I didn't want it. 3 months later, on May 5th, 2007, my friends and I went to a Mexican bar restaurant to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. They all arrived a little bit before I did. As I walked through the bar looking for them, I saw Jack sitting with 2 friends drinking beer. I couldn't believe it. Of all the restaurant bars in all the towns in all of Los Angeles, and he had to be sitting in mine. I said hi and kept walking. We both stole a few glances while at our separate celebrations, but nothing more. In the winter of 2007, Jack called me to tell me he was moving to New York City. He had had enough of Los Angeles and wanted to give his music a shot in New York. He wanted to see me before he left. I had a feeling this was a last-ditch effort to get laid, and that was fine. That's what I would have wanted too. I just ended a relationship and I was horny. I got his personal email. I said I'd write. I said I'd call, and I never did. Then, 18 years later, in November of 2024, I got a message from Jack that simply read, "Hi, are you still in Northern California?" 4 months later, in March 2025, I replied, "Hi, Jack. Yes, I am." And true to form, nothing has come of it.